We are Makilala TV, the first Filipino-American TV talk show in the New York metro area. Get to know us as we talk to the community leaders, innovators, advocates, and emerging artists who affect Filipino-American life.
My name is Cristina Pastor. Welcome to another enlightening discussion at Makilala. If there is one thing that strikes fear into the hearts of people, it is probably hacking or having their online identity stolen. It could be Facebook, email, or bank accounts. We've all heard the harrowing stories of how one went from the police to the banks to the countless local agencies just to restore their identities. Jen and Rachelle and I are honored and delighted to have as our guests Virginia Mayo Policarpio, who is a senior engineer at IBM, and Grace Labaguis, owner of Synergy Productions and marketing consultant for GMA International. Virginia wears many hats: IBM Senior Technical Staff Member, IBM Certified Senior IT Specialist, and the Open Group Distinguished IT Specialist. What that means simply is she leads a business division in IBM that assesses security vulnerability and prevents clients from being hacked. She is, by the way, one of very few top executives at IBM who is Filipino-American. Grace is joining us from the point of view of a victim. Not a passive victim, but a feisty one who fought AOL after her email account was compromised. Welcome, ladies. Grace, can you walk us through the time when you were out shopping with your son and you got an alert on your phone saying that you just sent a remittance when actually you have not sent any remittance? Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so it happened last year during the Memorial Day weekend. My son and I went home shopping. It was a very relaxing day until I got that phone call from the money remittance company that I used to sending money to the Philippines. So the lady on the other line asked me, did you send money to the Philippines out of 3 consecutive transactions? So no, I did not. So right there and then I told them, please do not allow that transaction go through because it's not me.
Did you send something? Anything? Did you send something foreboding?
Yes. So they told me, unfortunately, the transaction already went through. So that's the time I got really, I felt like, okay, what's going on? You're calling me, confirming it to me, but then it already went through. So what's the sense of you calling me now?
Yeah, what was the point of notification of already
Exactly.
went through?
So I told them, so what do I do now? So they told me to file a claim. And so I did. They gave me a case number and advised me to go to my bank and call all my credit card companies about what happened. So that's where the stressful, experience started. So I called my bank saying what happened. I was hacked. They took money from my bank account, and they asked me to file a police report.
Right.
Yes. So
is it because it's like a specific amount or over a certain amount?
A certain amount for me getting what?
Like say if it was only $50, would they force you to do a police report, or is it because
it's unauthorized?
Yes, as long as it's unauthorized and it was really they took money out from you from your bank account. Yeah, it's fraud.
How
Then you
did
really have to
AOL
file.
get into the picture?
After that incident, after I reported everything to my bank account and credit card companies, I tried to log into my AOL account. And as suspected, I can no longer access my account.
Okay.
So the hacker changed my password. They changed my security questions.
Oh, you didn't have a 2-step verification when you
At
go
that
to
time,
the
I
At
bank?
that
did
time,
not
it wasn't
have
a
it
common
yet.
thing yet,
Yes.
right?
So everything was changed. I cannot access anything.
Makes you very helpless.
Yes. So AOL told me to wait until a specialist calls me to revive my account. So I got really furious because why do I have to wait? This is an emergency, right? So
And you were out
yes,
shopping.
Yes, that's another thing. So they asked me to wait a few hours until such time I get a call from the specialist. So I was really disappointed, so I took it out on Twitter. I go to Twitter and then told them, AOL customer service, what's going on? This is an emergency. Why are you not?
That's right.
Because I felt like
you
my
need
identity,
answers right away.
yes, my identity was stolen. All my information is in that email. So luckily they tweeted back. They answered my Twitter.
And they fixed it.
Yes, we're looking into it. Someone will call you shortly, and someone did. And then within a few hours, I was able to, fix everything.
So Virginia, what happened to Grace? Is that common?
Very common than we know or we think it is. I mean, fundamentally, if you think about it, almost every aspect of our life revolves around data, right? From the social media or the retail online companies that we use, the remittance company that you're using, AOL, the provider, government, and as well as credit card companies store our names, our addresses, our birth dates, social security numbers. So we really have to hold them accountable to, they're collecting and analyzing all this data, right? We have to hold them accountable for how they store that data. The kind of mechanism and authentication mechanism that they're implementing, like the two-factor authentication that you've mentioned, is very key in protecting our data.
Are hackers now becoming more sophisticated?
Very sophisticated. So one of the things as security professionals that we're taught is everything we do, we must have a security mindset, just from a private citizen perspective and a security professional. And that's not something that comes easily for a lot of people. So for instance, as an engineer, I'm trained to think how we make things so that they work. As having a secure mindset, and think of it from both a private citizen perspective, you have to think about how to make things so that they fail, right? So you have to think from
How does that work?
Well, you have to think from the perspective of the attacker. As a security professional, I have to think that way. How am I going to protect your data? So I have to protect, how can I steal your data? How can I make you trust me to give me that data?
Oh, okay.
Right.
That's why you have this phishing phishing mechanisms.
And that's why. Phishing is just a means to make you trust whomever that is that's trying to steal your information. Yes, and there's many ways of phishing, right? There's email phishing. You click on the link, it brings you to an odd website.
Like that's the most common.
Yeah, that's right.
Very common.
So never click on any
untrusted
link.
emails, that kind of stuff. Also, in terms of someone calling you, let's say someone pretending to be from the IRS, they're going to call you.
That's a big deal.
Yes.
IRS?
It's so believable.
Yes.
On the telephone?
scarier.
It's on the telephone, okay.
On the phone, they'll call you, say we're missing some information on your tax return.
Sometimes they actually say if you don't pay your taxes,
that is so.
you'll be
You'll go to jail.
you'll go to jail.
They-
and usually the elderly
You know that
people,
that's fake because,
because
they do not do that.
They
those
don't
kinds of
We
things.
call
don't know
IRS.
it's fake though. The
No.
way that they say it is so real, but if we don't know that we can't.
Yeah, but accountants say IRS will never call you. They'll
Yeah,
send you a
yeah.
registered mail.
That's right,
Yeah,
that's right.
So that's
don't
one
go
thing to know.
But they actually target elderly people,
Yeah.
which is sad, and they
That's
would
how they
believe
get
them,
away
and they
with
would
it.
give them information. I want to just go back to Grace. How long did it take from the time you contacted your bank for everything to be resolved, so that when people know, like, if you don't be careful, something gets stolen?
I got my money back in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks.
Probably
Reasonable.
felt like a long time.
Yeah, that's right. 2 weeks
But-
of stress.
The
That's a long
gravity
time,
of
yeah.
stress is
Yes.
tremendous.
My credit card, what I do is I get notification every time a charge goes through, so I can tell right away. Okay, this is not mine, and I will call my credit card.
That's right.
Some credit card companies, are really good at when you dispute something, they put the amount on hold.
That's right.
But if you use a debit card, that's a different thing now.
Yes.
If you purchase anything using a debit card, the money is taken away right away. So
So it's not as protected.
so it's not, it's not, that's why I advise my kids, do not use debit cards when you're purchasing things like that. Like
So,
coffee.
Grace, after your experience, what are the things that you learned? How do you now protect your account when you go online?
Okay, my mistake at that time was that I stored my credit card information in the money remittance company link, where the customer information is stored.
Really?
Yes.
Don't we all
I
store our
do.
don't we all
Yeah,
store our
don't do
credit
that.
account?
Don't do that.
I have
No,
my
we
credit
don't.
account stored at Amazon
And
Prime.
so that's why we have to hold these organizations, companies
Right.
accountable for how they store and how they encrypt their data.
Yeah.
That's very important.
okay.
Yeah.
So you store that's how you suspect
Yes.
your information was stolen. Okay.
And I think I should have a stronger password next time, or I did already. I mean, I have to have a stronger password than what I used to.
Is that foolproof?
Absolutely. So that's one of the best practices that I would recommend is that we use a password vault of sorts, and you have a random password generator associated with that. So you're not using the same password across all your social media.
I think I'm guilty with that.
I can't remember everything.
Well, that's why you have a password vault. There's some good programs out there.
Yeah, is it safe? 'Cause
It's
I-
safe.
Is
How
it?
do I
Yes.
trust
Okay.
that?
I put it in a notebook and I write it down.
That's what I do. I have a
I know a
notebook.
lot of people have warned against
or
that.
spreadsheets or dollars.
No, that's what happened with the alert in Hawaii about the I guess the bomb or something. They had the password
On a piece
on a
of paper.
Post-it,
Yes.
and he took a selfie and it had the password and the login to the system.
Oh, was that
So don't put your passwords on your Post-it on your desk. Lock it somewhere.
It's not in a post-it,
It's in a
but it's still in a
closed
piece of
notebook.
paper. Go ahead. How else can we protect ourselves, Virginia?
Regularly monitoring your credit report. We
Right,
have
yes.
online banking access.
That's
we
right.
should be checking it at
Right.
least once a week.
And it's free.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on the credit card, some provide free credit monitoring, so we should leverage some of those services.
Yeah, I've actually caught somebody stealing my identity back when I was in, I think, college. And I was like, why is my score so low compared to like other people I know? And then I realized I looked at my credit report, and I saw that a credit card was taken out in Indiana. I was like,
In your name.
In my name. Everything was the same except the address.
And that's becoming a common type of identity theft is children's credit report or credit social security numbers are stolen to create an identity. So
For
as
adults,
adults, we know to monitor our credit or online banking, but imagine someone stealing a child's social security number. Years later, you find out you're in a financial cliff because of all this debt. Not only that, but estate theft, someone who's deceased. They can sell their social
that's
security
right.
number,
I've
take
heard
the
of that.
benefits of the government. So
It's
it's
hard
not-
because a lot of people require social security number. So what do? Do you give it to them? Not give it to them, or
And how do you transmit your social security number?
at the crux of it is really how these organizations, the government credit card companies, are storing and encrypting our data. There's no way to circumvent that. We're placing a lot of trust in them to do that. And so part of that responsibility, the onus is on them, how to protect your data. So
it's like right now everybody's life is out there. Like you have your Instagram, your Facebook, and all the information. Your birthday.
yes.
Like if I had known, I could not change my birthday on Facebook. They wouldn't let me change it anymore. Like it's hard because then they use the birthday for you to remember when you log in, if you in case you forget your password. So there are so many things that we have. Do you think maybe the younger generation will have a better chance of getting their security, whatever you call it, protection?
protected.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that a lot of the kids growing up in the digital age are more savvy about some of these multi-factor or two-factor authentication schema. It's not anything new, right? So two-factor authentication is just a means to validate that the user is in fact who they are by providing two pieces or more of evidences in an authentication mechanism before they can access that site or make a purchase. And I think that's being instilled, talking about the secure mindset, that's being instilled in the younger generation. And perhaps they don't even know it, right? When you're logging in certain websites right now, you have to not only provide your password, but there's a perhaps
Security
a pass-
question.
security
Yes.
questions,
Questions.
passphrases, or even a logo that you know is yours.
Yeah.
I mean, that's existed in some technologies. Perhaps we're just not really aware where it is. When we're using our debit cards, that's two-factor authentication. You've got a PIN and your
okay.
physical card.
That's right.
So that's being implemented online now, which is the good news.
So who is doing all the hacking?
Anyone that wants the opportunity to steal identity for financial gains. That's always the root cause, is it's for financial gains. And some people that are opportunistic, it's always easy to steal an identity or steal money from someone, because in general, I think, well, people are trusting, right? And you don't think it'll happen to you. Particularly, we touched on senior citizens.
Yeah.
They're not monitoring their credit
That's right.
regularly.
Yeah.
They don't know the signs of phishing, and they have higher savings, right? So
That's
they're good
right.
targets. So we also, I think, as a community, need to teach some of these tips to
That's a good idea,
seniors.
Virginia. Yeah. She wanted to bring seniors into the digital age
we should.
and
There
still be
should be some
conscious
sort
of their
of-
privacy. Because right now, some of us just go on Facebook and start sharing pictures without being mindful of what they share online.
Exactly.
you
One
wanna
of the-
discuss
even
that some more?
location.
Yeah.
Like, every picture has an
Geotagged.
attached location.
Yeah, attached
to it,
location,
So that's
yeah.
also a security risk.
very big security risk. One of the things I personally am responsible because I do it myself. When we go on vacation, it's great, we're posting all these photos on vacation, but hey, make sure you know each and every single one of your connections, because they know you're not home, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's an
Right.
excellent opportunity for them to make some moves there.
So
in your
you should
home.
not say where you are.
I think that we just need to, one of the first things is, do we know who all our connections are? Perhaps sometimes we don't. And I know that's challenging in this day and age. We all want to be connected, right? So perhaps delay when you're posting where you are. Very simple
When you get
things
back.
like that.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
when
yeah.
you get
After
back
your
in
vacation.
town.
Or a week later. Yes. Not
what
right at this moment.
What about passing around prayers and chain letters?
The
and
GIFs,
saying-
right?
And GIFs. Are they safe?
She doesn't open anything.
Are they safe to open?
They generally are, but again, it could be a phishing, right? That someone clicks on that GIF and then it's directing them to a website and it collects your information. You may also notice, for instance, I was looking at the other day for a pair of Adidas Stan Smiths, right? Just my Google browser. I log on to Facebook or Instagram, I see it there.
The ads, yeah.
Yes.
So from your browser, it's caching the information of your browsing history, and then now it's kind
That's
of
right, yeah.
saying-
Not only that, though, I was talking to my friend, not even online. I was just having a conversation, and I logged in, and all of a sudden, I see the first thing that showed up was related to what we were talking about.
How is
Like,
that
were they
possible?
listening?
That happens all the time.
How is that possible?
That, I mean, a
Some
lot
kind of
of
a GPS
a lot of
system.
companies
Audio.
it's listening to you. That's a lot of, I would say, a conspiracy theory, but I mean, I've heard it happen.
It could be coincidental, but wait a
No
second,
way,
it happens
it's
so
not
many
coincidental.
times.
How can they listen if your device is off? Is that possible?
How do they?
It is
how do they
possible
say
because
when
there's
you-
a connectivity. There's a two-way connectivity. Yes, it's.
How do
it's
they
never
Alexa.
off.
I don't
How do
know.
they know
God.
when you say "Hey Google" or
Yeah.
"Hey Siri"? They're listening, right?
Yeah, but what if your device is off?
Powered
How can they
off?
listen?
It needs to be powered off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's still
But
active.
when is Jen ever going to turn off her phone?
I don't want to talk to Cristina.
So, ransom emails. Jen, I am in Haiti enjoying the sight and the sun, and then I lost my wallet. Can you send me this much amount? How do you? Of course, we
I would say
ignore it,
Cristina,
right?
and Haiti, that's never going to happen. But
So we just ignore it. Where does that lead to? What kind of a phishing technique is that?
It's a common phishing technique. Again, it's more of making you trust the person who you're talking to, right? And usually for some ransomwares, what they do is they literally hijack some of your files. And this was a WannaCry last year. That's what that threat and vulnerability did, was it hijacked all the files in your device and told you and asked you for some specific sum of money. Otherwise, they would delete all your files, and that was very devastating to one of the bigger entity impacted was a hospital in UK.
Yeah.
Imagine losing all their patient data, years and years of patient data, that devastation that would cause. So again, at the forefront of all this cyber attacks is the organizations where we're entrusting our data to make sure that it's properly encrypted. We have to bring the technology to support this digital world where all our data is out there.
It really is like education, because even in my organization, they constantly tell us of some examples of what to do, what not to do, which is not clicking on any suspicious hyperlinks, or even just hovering over the from address to see what type of address is it. Is it really from the organization? And not clicking on or downloading any PDFs that look suspicious.
Does it help to clear your search history or your browsing?
It
data?
really does, yes.
Oh,
So
really?
there's
I haven't been doing that.
They're setting they're setting in our browser history that it will automatically delete what's cached in there every 30 days or every week. Particularly if one was using a public computer, right? It's also a common reasons for senior citizens getting hacked if they're perhaps using a public computer and they forget to log off, things like that.
Oh, that's right. So how do you log off? Do you log off? Some really basic questions. Do you log off every night or every week? What is the frequency of logging on and off?
What do you mean? How do you search? How do you clear the browsing?
No, how do you just log off?
Make sure that you are
You sign off, yes.
Sign
There's
off.
also
How do you
some
sign
features in some of the browsers are getting smarter that when you close that instance of browser, it logs you off everything you were logged into.
That would be on
But
financial accounts though, like
I
banks and
am so
stuff.
lazy. I
don't
will
close
keep
your
that
browser.
browser.
Because then you have to plug in your password
Yeah,
again,
me
and
too,
then
yeah.
second verification code.
Yeah. Is it advisable to store your password?
I do. I personally, I do. But, part of that best practice is every 7 weeks or every 30 days, clear your cache and restart over.
How often do you change your password? They recommend that, constantly changing your password, right?
Yes, I do. I change my passwords across all my accounts by quarter. But one of the things that, again, if we have one of these password generators or a password vault, it generates a string of password, 16 character perhaps, or 8 character, and it's really random.
So how does it work? I just copy and paste from the vault, put it into the
Yes.
login, and that's it?
Correct, yes.
The vault from
Yes.
the software that
Yes.
you use?
So it's a password vault, and then you just list out all, Gmail, Facebook, Instagram, all your banks, and you list out your user ID.
Isn't that scary, giving somebody
yeah.
access?
The crown jewels, but that's one of the means to store it, because that password vault in itself isn't.
What if that vault gets hacked?
That has a password.
Exactly.
Your vault has a password. Think of it, and you can even
So you can
implement a
only think. So you will
multi-factor.
only remember one password.
One master. Yes.
Oh.
And then from there, right, you can have multi-factor authentication to access your vault also.
So I've read some information that older computers get hacked easier, or is it
That's
true?
true, because they're not built up to the standards for to use some of the encryption methods that we are implementing now for websites and even the hardware on the hardware end of it.
Okay, so how often do you have to change your computer? Or do you have to install something?
You have to install
Yes,
maybe
yes.
virus protection,
Yeah.
Yes.
antivirus.
Okay.
So
It's now necessary,
It's there's two prongs. So one is keeping the firmware and the patching and the updates for both your hardware and the operating system to current, making sure that when the vendor is saying, "Hey, we release new fixes for your hardware and your software," those are installed.
You
Just
should be
basic
compliant.
upkeep of your devices.
Okay.
Right, and there's no real, within 5 years you should have a new computer. It's more about the maintenance and upkeep of your system.
I think most retail stores, I think we're getting all paranoid, but I think most retail stores, since what happened to Target, they changed the way they stored the credit card information. They do the encrypting, and you can't really see the file. Say somebody hacked into a retail store's database, and they can't just read the file because it's all encrypted.
Right.
So I think you gotta trust a little bit, but at the same time, we have to just be cautious not to be giving out information
Absolutely.
to whoever.
And a lot of companies, I would say, based on what I see for our clients, are very cognizant in implementing good security measures to protect their clients. So there's this concept about data encryption in transit as it's coming from that physical location. data encryption at rest while it's stored in a database. There's an encryption level there. So we're getting smarter about it, right?
So how long have you actually been in engineering or data or security, internet security?
This is my 15th year with IBM.
With
so
IBM.
it's, yeah, it's just rare in the IT industry because it's like a revolving door.
Yeah,
But
Cristina
it's-
mentioned that you are one of the only Filipino American executives.
That I've met. I'm looking. I've been looking for a mentor, but it's been a great ride. So
So
well,
Virginia,
hopefully we have
I'm-
other people looking up to you. hopefully.
Just curious, have you ever been hacked?
no, I've not.
knock on
I have not.
Okay, so maybe you're doing something right. Do you want to share with us what you do with your personal computer so that you can better
wanna
protect
spill a
yourself?
I think it's
Some best practices.
I think we just need to be cognizant of the data we share, right? And I think that's something that, as a security professional, again, I've just become cognizant with maybe the last 2 to 3 years, curating your data. I've become more protective of my data as of late, right? I use Facebook, Instagram, just like many folks. But now I'm just a bit more selective of what I put out there because
Selective.
that's my data.
Selective with your photos or the information that you share?
Both. So, my
okay.
photos, what I'm doing, that kind of information because it's my data and I want to make sure I control what gets out there for the consumption of people I may not know.
And the frequency, I guess.
Yes, that also.
So today I'm going to reset all my passwords. I'm going to make sure that I clear my browser, and I don't know what else am I going to do.
Make sure you have the two-step.
Two-step.
Stop posting your
location.
Your location.
Places.
Post after.
Yes.
Yeah,
post
yeah, that's
after.
right.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for being on the show. Ladies, unfortunately, we need to wind down this very informative discussion. You know what they say about having your identities stolen is no different from having your house burglarized. It is invasive and stressful and embarrassing and just plain scary. Thank you, Virginia and Grace, for your expertise and experience. And to our viewers, be mindful of what you share online because it can be used many different ways. Thank you, everyone. And before we close, I would like to wish a happy 5th anniversary to Makilala. Jen, Rachelle, we are 5 years old. Yeah.
We're learning how to speak well.
You know, eat solid food.
Yeah.
Okay, no crying. Thanks so much. Bye.